Washington Commanders, Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to give you the keys to how the Commanders can go and win this game in Atlanta. Right now, today, let's get to it.
What they gonna say about your name? What they gonna say about your reputation? What they gonna say when they turn that film on? I know what they gonna say about me. Where my dogs at? Where my dogs at? Where my dogs at? Where my dogs at? Give me two clap and a Ric Flair.
All right. So, today we're going to be talking about the Washington Commanders going to Atlanta to play the Atlanta Falcons tomorrow at 12 o'clock Central Time. Big game for both sides. Wraps up the first quarter of the season for both teams. Atlanta obviously isn't where they want to be at 1-2. The Commanders are in a favorable position considering the fact that win or lose, they will either be 2 games above 500 or they will be right at 500. Obviously, they want the first of the options, but, this will be a way for the Commanders to close out their first quarter of their season strong. However, they do have limitations. No Jaden Daniels. For the first time in history, we will see a game during the Jaden Daniels era that doesn't include him or Terry McLaurin. That also knocks out John Bates. Let me look at the rest of this injury report. And Noah Brown. So, 4 key contributors on the offense not playing. 2 questionable in the game. Percy Butler and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, a.k.a. Bill. I believe Bill is going to play. He had a full day of practice Friday. Dan Quinn said he looked good. There was pretty much no sort of hesitation about whether or not he is going to play or not. I believe we'll see him out there trying on the field Sunday. Percy Butler, hip injury, did not practice. I believe we see him next week against the Chargers. I don't think we see Percy Butler at all this week. Names that got left off of the injury report or had no designation because of they were simply just healed up. Trey Amos and Kostin Yankov. 2 huge names. Trey Amos has been our best corner this year on his side of the field. Hasn't allowed really any plays at all. But it is quite worrisome in the sense of 2 weeks in a row. He's had 2 injuries, and they're different. This one's a calf. The other one was a shoulder. So monitor that throughout the season. Hopefully he can stay clean and healthy throughout the rest of the season. Or if he does have another injury, it's one of those 2. Because right now, technically, he's injured in the shoulder and calf. Even though he's healed up, he will have that history as far as, this season. Kostin Yankov, with John Bates being hurt, our tight ends have to step up as a whole. Zach Ertz can pretty much, ever since he's been here, he's pretty much just been the receiving tight end. But as far as blocking, that was John Bates. It was like having another offensive lineman on the field. And with him being out, we can't afford to lose that edge of physicality just on the line in general. So we're going to need all of our tight ends to step up, but especially Kostin Yankov and Ben Sinnott as far as the blocking game. As far as the Atlanta Falcons injury report, let's see. Players that are going to play, everyone's going to play except for Cordero Hodge, who is big on special teams for the Falcons. A.J. Terrell, their best boundary corner. This would mean much more if Terry McLaurin was playing. But with Terry out, it's kind of like they kind of balance each other out. Their best corner, our best receiver. Very impactful corner, very impactful receiver. But, that is a hole in their secondary. Nathan Carter, running back, hamstring. Not gonna lie, I don't think he plays much of a part in what the Falcons do. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah. But that was basically the injury report. I didn't even segue into it. I went straight into it, but that's the injury report. So, with that being said, let's talk about how the Commanders can command control. Some keys to the game. First, I'm going to start off with the offense. Physicality in the trenches. That has to be step one. We have to be physical in the trenches. We're down to our backup quarterback, and we are without our number one receiver. We're without our number 3 receiver. We're without our best blocking tight end. Austin Eckler is on IR. We're without one of our core backs in the backfield. Simply put, we are hindered as far as what we have on offense. However, the offensive line that we started the season with is still here. Well, not really, considering the fact that they benched Brandon Coleman in favor of Chris Paul. But my whole point is that, let me hold the mic. I feel like I need to hold the mic. My whole point is that we are hindered as far as the offense, but we still have an offensive line that throughout the first three weeks of the season have looked really, really good. So we need to be able to match the physicality we had with the Giants and the Raiders. Now the Packers game, I don't know what that was. I'm gonna chalk it up to it being a short week, but in those 2 games, we have showed complete dominance for the most part, and really just force those teams' defenses to amend to what we were going to do. If we wanted to run the ball, we made it a point. We made a statement. We created big holes for our running backs to run through. We just showed our dominance. If we were pass blocking, our quarterbacks, for the most part, would rarely get touched. I mean, yeah, Josh Connolly Jr. is having his struggles, but last week was his best week of the season. And I don't think that's a coincidence, considering the fact that the chips were actually chipping and he was actually receiving a lot of help. But even then, when he was by himself, a lot of times he had a penalty or two, but a lot of times he held his own. So I think with the first 3 weeks he's had, the pass rushers he has to face, I think it can only go up from here, because we're not going to see another Micah Parsons. We're not going to see Max Crosby again. Now, who we will see again is the New York Giants. So we'll see them. I don't know exactly when, but whenever we see them, we'll see how far he's came against that front. But that's step 1. We have to dominate in the trenches. Step 2. Behind the trenches, run the ball. Last week against the Raiders, we came out on our first drive after a big Deebo Samuel kickoff return and ran the ball down their throats. We only had 1 drop back, and that drop back led to a run. It was reminiscent of the Bengals preseason game this year, where started off with the huge spark, and then we just ran the ball down the field, and then the one time we do want to pass it, the quarterback takes off. Also, to add on, the Commanders are currently second in the NFL behind, I want to say, the Buffalo Bills in rushing yards per game at around 157 rushing yards per game. So the rushing attack has already been big to start the season for the Commanders, and I expect it to still be that way after week 4, going into week 5. The third key for the Commanders: don't do nothing too special on offense. And what do I mean by that? Because that sounds vague. That sounds confusing a bit. Look, we are down key guys. We're down our top 2 offensive players. We're down our best blocking tight end. We're down our 3rd best receiver. This might be a hard offensive game to watch. I understand that. Debo, if Debo is still returning kick returns, right? If he's still returning kick returns, he is probably not going to be on offense as much as we would like. So, let's say Debo is returning like all of the kickoffs. The person who is our wide receiver 2, who is supposed to slide into that wide receiver 1 slot with Terry either out or, just being on the bench or anything like that. Now, we don't know who that's going to be. Because I don't know if you saw, but last week against the Raiders, when he had that first kickoff return, the one to start the game off, he was gassed. He was tired. You could tell by his body language. I knew he was gassed, but it was one play on that drive where Debo touched the ball, and he was lined up in the backfield, I believe. He was literally like, how in Madden, when they are bent over, tired, that's how he looked. And then he got the ball, and it was like a 2-yard gain. He got pulled out of that drive. Debo's going to be tired. So then at that point, you're down your top 3 receivers, and you're relying on Jalen Lane, Luke McCaffrey, Chris Moore, and probably someone else they pull up from the practice squad tomorrow. Those are going to be your top receivers. Not saying Debo is going to be so tired to where he's not going to play receiver at all, but if he does continue the trend he's had with kickoff returns, having big returns, we're going to have to rely on a lot of those guys already, more than as is. And to just go more into detail about, keep it simple. Just stick to the keys. Protect Marcus Mariota. That Falcons pass rush is much improved. This is the best pass rush they've had in a couple years, to be honest. And that is because they added 2 first-round picks on that D-line specifically to rush the quarterback. Jalen Walker, James Pierce Jr. I mean, those guys are getting after the quarterback. They've come in and they're doing what they were drafted to do. Get pressure on the quarterback, make the quarterback's life a little bit unstable. So, protect Marcus. I expect a big Zach Ertz game. I expect a big Zach Ertz game. Probably some like 7 catches for 77 yards and probably a tud or 2. Just keep it simple. Keep it balanced. Get out of Atlanta with 2 goals in mind. A win, and B, no injuries. We've already suffered enough. On the defensive side of things, the first key is obvious, but it is still a key within the game. Stop/slow down Bijan Robinson. Slowing Bijan Robinson down would mean something like 16 carries for about 63, around 50 to 65 yards, no touchdowns, around 3 to 5 catches for about 20 to 30 some yards. That's slowing Bijan down. Stopping Bijan would be like 17 carries for what I used the first time, 16 carries for about 45 to 55 yards, no touchdowns, and 3 to 5 catches for about 15 to 25 yards. The run defense has been stout. The same way we're ranked second in running the ball as a collective team, we are ranked 5th as far as yards per carry, giving up only 3.7 a game. And we're 12th overall, only giving up 100 yards per game total on the ground. So run defense hasn't been our biggest concern, but the combination of a good O-line plus a top 3, top 5 back in Bijan Robinson, and a lot of people forget about Tyler Algier. He is similar to Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. It is literally the same, pretty much. Which one's the watered down version? I would say Atlanta. And that's not even disrespectful because Detroit has the best running back duo in the league. You could argue Atlanta has the second best running back duo in the league. That's just how dangerous they are. Bijan comes in. He's the Jahmyr, a.k.a. Sonic, in the group. You know, he's going to come in. He's going to catch the passes. Elusive, speed. He's just a combination of it all. And then Tyler Algier is more like the knuckles, more the power back, more the hit you in the mouth. If you don't want to wrap up, you'll be on the ground because I just ran you over type of back. So the main concern is stop/slow down, really just the run game, which leads into the key to make Michael Penix beat you. The previous 2 games, he has not went over 175 passing yards. Now, do I think that's going to be the case against us? I don't know. We'll see. But what I am saying is, to start off the season, Michael Penix just doesn't look like he's getting it yet. It doesn't look like everything is coming to him as smooth as it did towards the end of last year, right? He's going through his bumps. Michael Penix technically has not – he's completed his rookie season as far as the actual year, but as far as games and experience, he's only starting – this would be his, 7th start? You know? He started 3 games last year. I believe 2 to 3 games last year, and this is week 4. This would be his 4th start of the year, so around either 6 or 7 starts, you know. So he doesn't have a lot of game time experience. Now, the crazy thing about it, this will be his 2nd time playing us, right? So there's a little bit of formality. Formality. You know, he's seen us last year. It's pretty much the same, just new players. Same DC, same scheme, you know. He got the same guys. We pretty much got the same guys in the same secondary besides Trey Amos, you know. So with that being said, you know, make Michael Penix beat you. And he can beat you with his arm. His arm is not the problem. Right now, he's just not getting it. If this is the case, I need my defensive line to get pressure on him. Don't let him sit back there and be a statue. The defensive line has been rushing great as a unit. Dorrance Armstrong coming off the edge has looked amazing. Deron Payne on the interior looked amazing. You know, Javon Kinlaw looks amazing. Von Miller at times looks very good. As a unit, we're rushing well. But there are some times where we'll go through some dry spells where we can't reach the quarterback. And that allows, when you run a mainly man scheme, when plays take over 4 seconds, once it hits 5 seconds, someone's bound to be open. Because if it's man-to-man and you haven't gotten pressure on that quarterback, at that point, the receivers are done running their routes. It leads to what's called a broken play. Now, what's going to happen, the receiver's just going to just find an open spot on the field to run to. It's man-to-man. It's not zone. It's not like he's running into a zone. He's going to run into an empty spot on the field to where the quarterback just needs to sling it to where only the receiver could get it, and it's an easy first down. We saw a couple examples of it last week. Even when we got pressure on Geno, Geno got out the pocket one time, and it was a close sack, but he got out, weaseled his way out, and next thing you know, it was an open receiver right there like a yard or two past the sticks on a third down. So those will be the type of things that make a difference in this game. I won't say that was my second. Yeah, that was my second key. I mean, my third key, I pretty much went through it. D-line, I need you to make Penix uncomfortable. I mean, for out of 2 of the 3 games, the defensive line has looked amazing. And in regards of the run game, they've looked amazing all 3 games. As far as pass rush, we did not get no pressure on Jordan Love whatsoever. So, yeah, majority of the games they've looked good. But the one time we played a competent O-line, the defensive line, the rush was really nowhere to be seen. So against another competent O-line, I'm willing to see, I'm eager to see the type of results we get against that Atlanta's O-line. They have good players on that line. So we're going to see what we could do as a unit against that unit. Hopefully they come out, the Commanders that is, they come out and they I'm not looking for them to dominate, but I'm definitely looking for them to come away with some wins that made me think, okay, yeah, this defensive line is a force to be reckoned with. This is one of the best O-lines in the NFC, and we just went out there and held our own and did more than that. They affected the game. They really made their presence felt. So we're going to see. Fourth key. My fourth and final key, can we get a turnover? This was a key to a lot of people last week against the Raiders. This should be a key every week, right? You're on the field for about 60 to 70 plays, right? Most of the time. You will feel like a turnover would come, right? Now, let me do math. The last time we forced a turnover was in the NFC divisional round against the Lions. So, the Eagles game, week 1, week 2, week 3. 16 quarters since the last time we forced a turnover. 16 quarters. Now, we're blessed that the offense generally keeps up with the ball. We've only had one giveaway this week or last week, and that was Marcus Mariota fumbling when he was running down the field trying to pick up extra yards. But besides that, the offense generally doesn't give the ball up. They don't even really put the ball in harm's way. So that's a blessing, because if the offense was out here giving the ball up willy-nilly, I'm not sure we're 2-1. With that being said, the offense can't be relied upon to just have one giveaway the whole year and the defense have no turnovers. We have to play complementary football, which we have been doing, but at some point, turnovers got to play a part in that too. I'm an interception guy. I love me an interception. I'll take a fumble at this point. Punch the ball out. If it's a big play down the field, when the runner isn't looking, when the runner not paying attention, punch the ball out. I want to turnover, bro. I'm getting tired. We're one of the only teams in the league that has not forced a turnover, and it's starting to get irritating. After tomorrow, we're going to be a month into the season. I really hope I cannot say a month into the season we have not forced a turnover. Michael Penix Jr. turned the ball over twice last week against Carolina. One was a pick six. Geno Smith, the Monday prior to us playing them, turned the ball over 3 times. 3 times. And the ball was never in harm's way against us. It's like, I don't know what we have to do to just be in position to get a turnover. The only time we've been in position to get a turnover was against the Giants, and that was negated by hands to the face on 4th down. So a turnover would be nice this week. I'm not banking on it. It just would be nice, because obviously turnovers, especially depending on what side of the field you on, greatly amplifies your chances of winning. I'm gonna leave it at that. Special teams. I believe we have the best special teams in the league. Punt return. Jalen Lane has broken like a couple of them for like over 15 yards already. He just had a punt return go for a touchdown last week. He had another one that could have broke big. Kickoff returns. Debo is doing his thing back there. Luke should have had a big kickoff return, but he slipped on air. Shout out to Casper. Punts where we're pinning teams deep in their own territory. Tressway is still the amazing punter he was years and years and years ago when he used to be our best player, when we used to be happy to see Tressway come out and punt, because at least we know we're going to pin teams deep in their own deep down the field. Were they still driving down the field? Yeah, that's besides the point. Anywho, the only thing that scares all of us is Matt Gay. Matt Gay, I need Matt Gay to go on a stretch where he does not miss a kick. Just doesn't miss a kick. He missed a kick last game. He really missed two. He kicked the ball out of bounds after the first touchdown, right? Then had the nerve to miss it was like a 30-some yarder, 37-yarder. Had the nerve to miss that. Then right before half, we kick a 58-yarder. He misses, but thank God the Raiders were on the ice and already cold kicker who had no confidence. So, kickers, they snap and they usually take that little practice kick to angle it, see what they could do better. Or if they made it, just try to replicate it. He missed, right? Shout out to Pete Carroll for calling a timeout. Then he made that one, then he made another one. So that's the reason why he's here. I need Matt Gay to just go on the stretch, bro. Lock in. That simple. I'm confident in the return teams on both sides. Punt return, kickoff return. I'm confident in my gunners. I'm confident in my punt coverage. I'm confident in my kickoff coverage. I'm not confident in Matt Gay kicking the ball through the upright and not kicking the ball out of bounds. So, with that being said, who do I have winning? I have the Commanders winning. I have the Commanders winning 23-20. I think this is going to be a close game. I think we do enough to slow Bijan down. I do think he gets in the end zone once. I think he gets in the end zone, and I think Kyle Pitts gets in the end zone. But I think we do enough to slow Bijan and that offense down to where we escape Atlanta with another win. We're 4-0 against them in the last 4 seasons. It seems like we're divisional rivals at this point. How many times we seen them. But I think we do enough to escape Atlanta with the win in the first quarter of the season, 3-1, and hopefully come out healthier against the Chargers in Week 5. We're gonna need all the bodies we could get in that game. We're gonna need Jaden back. Lord, if Lord can, we're gonna need Terry back. I don't see Terry playing that game, to be honest, but if we can, need Terry back. Noah Brown, this would be an amazing time to come back. John Bates, this would be an amazing time to come back. Percy Butler, this would be an amazing time to come back because, you're a rotational safety and you are one of the best special teamers on the team. We could use all the help we could get. But, yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Commanders exclusive. Command and control. And, yeah, with that being said, make sure y'all go follow the TikTok, follow the Instagram. And yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe. And that's about it. I'm out.